Superfood Evolution presents Ancient Grains. What they are in a nutshell. Plus our summarized list of the top 6 gluten-free varieties. Ancient grains have been a trending whole food staple promoted since the mid-90s. What are ancient grains? The term is not scientific, but one that describes some of the original strains of staple grain crops that have been cultivated since the days of early agriculture. This was a time indicated by archaeological evidence that occurred about 10,000 or more years ago. Humans before this period were hunter-gatherers, living a more nomadic lifestyle in small bands or tribes. The development of plant-based crop cultivation, as well as animal domestication, is what largely encouraged a sedentary lifestyle and the expansion of human society. Quality ancient grains come from species that have been less influenced by selective breeding, a process utilized to selectively develop certain phenotype characteristics by inbreeding plants to maximize desirable traits such as yield. Ancient grains traditionally used by ancient civilizations are often viewed to be hardier species and, although they are less suited for mass production, are proposed to offer greater nutritional value than common types most frequently grown, predominantly corn, rice, durum, and bread wheat. Ancient grains can be grouped into 3 main categories: major cereals, minor cereals, and pseudocereals. The top ancient major cereals are wheat gluten varieties like spelt, kamut, farro, einkorn, emmer, and fricka. In this video, however, we take a brief look at the top gluten-free pseudocereals and minor grains, their origins, nutritional attributes, as well as qualities and uses when food-like grains are on the menu. Top 6 gluten-free ancient grains list. Number 1. Millet. Millet comes from a group of several seeded grasses that produce small yellow grains. The 2 most common ancient varieties include foxtail millet, Setaria italica, and common millet, Panicum miliaceum. These types of millet are found in many ancient diets and are still staple food sources in regions of Asia and Africa, including India, China, Mali, Niger, and Russia. They grow in semi-arid tropical climates and are a drought-resistant, fast-growing plant, producing a high yield of grain. In the US, one may think of clustered branches of millet as a common household bird feed. But millet today is becoming more popular worldwide as the trend for ancient grains and gluten-free substitutes continues to increase. It is also a relatively inexpensive variation compared to other ancient grains, and is a quick cooking variety that takes about 20 minutes. Millet is a good source of manganese, magnesium, phosphorus, copper, and zinc, as well as B vitamins like niacin, thiamine, B6, and folate. According to nutritional data, 1 cup of cooked millet is 207 calories and contains about 6 grams of protein, 41 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fiber, and 1.7 grams of fat. Millet has a distinct but pleasant, slightly sweet flavor that goes well with savory or sweet dishes. It can be used as a replacement to rice or prepared as a porridge. The wholemeal flour is used to make millet polenta, baked goods, and is a common one utilized to make Indian flatbread or roti. Number 2. Amaranth. Amaranth was once a staple grain of the Aztec culture, who worshipped it in spiritual ceremonies. Story has it that Spanish conquistadors, after the conquest of the Aztec territory, banned the use of this traditional food in an attempt to destroy their civilization. Amaranth is a gluten-free pseudo-cereal grain that is a very tiny seed commonly produced from the species Amaranthus caudatus, the main Andean variety called kiwicha. It is one of the highest in starch content, containing an average of 40 grams per 1 cup of cooked amaranth. Cooked amaranth has curled white germs, similar to quinoa, and a porridge-like consistency with a slightly crunchy texture. It does tend to have a stronger flavor that you will either enjoy or not particularly care for. It is the second highest in protein of all gluten-free types. Amaranth is high in calcium and a good source of the minerals manganese, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, copper, and selenium, as well as the B vitamins B6 and folate. According to nutritional data, 1 cup of cooked amaranth averages about 251 calories and contains 9 grams of protein, 46 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber, and 4 grams of fat. Cooked amaranth can be consumed straight like oatmeal, as a breakfast-type porridge, or added to soups and stews. As a ground flour, it can be used for pancakes, baking purposes, or used as a substitute when making a roux-based gravy. Raw amaranth contains high amounts of saponins and oxalates and is often best rinsed and/or soaked for a short time to increase digestibility when cooked. Number 3. Sorghum. Sorghum, or sorghum bicolor, is one of the lesser-known minor cereal grain species in the Western world, but is actually on the top list of grains grown in worldwide commercial production, after rice, wheat, and barley. It is related to sweet sorghum varieties that are utilized for their sugary stalks used to make sorghum syrup. Sorghum is a staple food source grown in regions of Africa, especially Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan, where it is utilized as a traditional grain for making flatbreads, porridge, beverages, and has long been used as a livestock feed. Adaptable to a wide range of climatic conditions, it is also widely cultivated in subtropical and tropical climates, such as parts of India and China. It is often claimed as one of the ancient grains historically distributed along silk trade routes. Recently, sorghum has been popularized as a gluten-free grain option for those with wheat gluten intolerance. The dry, rounded grain is larger than other gluten-free varieties, about the same size as buckwheat groats. Nutritionally, sorghum, sometimes called Milo, contains a good balance of protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals such as magnesium, iron, phosphorus, copper, and the B vitamins niacin and B6. According to nutritional data, 1 cup of cooked sorghum is about 219 calories and contains 6.6 grams of protein, 46 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber, and 2 grams of fat. After cooking, it has a chewy, hearty, firm texture and nutty sweet flavor, making it perfect for risotto, pilaf, and cold salads. It can also be used as a flour alternative. The whole grain can also be popped like popcorn. Number 4. Teff. Teff, Iragrotis teff, is a minor cereal grain as opposed to a pseudocereal and is native to the Horn of Africa, where it is a traditional ancient grain of Ethiopia, Somalia, and Eritrea. The seeds of teff, often a reddish-brown color, are very tiny, about the size of a poppy seed, which enables it to cook rather quickly. As a domesticated crop, it is another hardy species able to resist drought as well as withstand waterlogged conditions. Teff is one to add to your list of gluten-free options and is especially known for its higher amount of protein content. Teff is a good source of the B vitamins thiamine, B6, niacin, and folate, as well as the minerals manganese, copper, magnesium, phosphorus, iron, and zinc. Like amaranth, it is particularly known for its high calcium content, with 1 cup of cooked teff making up about 12% of the daily value. According to nutritional data, 1 cup of cooked teff is about 255 calories and contains 9.8 grams of protein, 50 grams of carbs, 7 grams of fiber, and 1.6 grams of fat. Teff has a mild, nutty taste and makes a hearty porridge-type breakfast cereal, or can likewise be used to thicken soups or stews. The milled flour is used to make the popular Ethiopian fermented sourdough flatbread called injera. Teff flour can also be utilized for baking purposes or added to veggie burgers to increase their protein content. Number 5. Buckwheat. Although the gluten-free ancient grain known as buckwheat has the word wheat in its name, it isn't a type of wheat, but is a pseudo-cereal. produced from the seeds of a plant closely related to rhubarb. Phagopyrum tataricum was first believed to be cultivated in Southeast Asia, particularly the western Yunnan region of China near the Tibetan Plateau. From there, its popularity as a cooked grain staple made its way up to Eastern Europe. As a result, cooked buckwheat has influenced many cultural dishes spanning this widespread territory. The seeds, often called groats, have a triangular shape and are high in mucilage, which becomes evident when soaked in water. The raw groats after cooking have a unique soft texture and unmistakable buckwheaty flavor. Buckwheat is also shown in research to be a valuable source of rutin, a bioflavonoid with antioxidant properties. It is a good source of protein, fiber, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, iron, copper, zinc, and niacin. According to nutritional data, 1 cup of cooked buckwheat averages about 155 calories and contains 5.7 grams of protein, 33 grams of carbs, 4.5 grams of fiber, and 1 gram of fat. Buckwheat flour is a very popular ingredient used to make buckwheat pancakes and soba noodles. Kasha, or cooked toasted buckwheat, is a traditional porridge-type food served in Eastern Europe and also used in numerous recipes. A type of dehydrated buckwheat granola and pizza crusts are also popular in the US, using the soaked and sprouted raw grain. Unhulled black buckwheat groats can also be grown as a microgreen variety, commonly called buckwheat greens. Number 6. Quinoa. Another pseudocereal, quinoa is the seed of a non-grass species that belongs to the same family as Amaranth and Quinoa. Chenopodium quinoa is a species native to the Andean region of South America and was a staple grain of the Incan peoples, who called it Chisawea Mama, or mother of all grains. According to the lost crops of the Incas, quinoa can be grown under particularly unfavorable conditions, at high elevation, on poorly drained lands, in cold regions, and under drought. Uncooked quinoa seeds have a flat rounded shape and, when completely cooked, pop open to form tiny soft grains with a white curled germ falling off of them. Quinoa grain has a bitter saponin coating that in large amounts can act as an anti-nutrient, which may cause digestive issues. Most quality quinoa suppliers, however, pre-rinse the grains to remove most of these saponin compounds. Quinoa is another protein-rich ancient grain. It is a good source of manganese, magnesium, phosphorus, copper, and iron, as well as the B vitamins folate, thiamine, riboflavin, and B6. According to nutritional data, 1 cup of cooked quinoa averages about 222 calories and contains 8 grams of protein, 39 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber, and 3.6 grams of fat. Quinoa has a slightly bitter taste, but a pleasant, buttery-rich, pasta-like flavor. You can use quinoa the same way you would use rice as a side dish to vegetables, tempeh, tofu, or meat protein. It can likewise be incorporated into many recipes, like sushi or curried vegetable sautés. Cooked quinoa also makes a great cold tabbouleh-like salad. For more nutrition data and how to cook these gluten-free ancient grains, please see the link above or in the description box below this video. Precautions. We always recommend soaking and rinsing grains prior to cooking methods to improve overall digestibility. It is important for those with gluten sensitivities or those with celiac disease to purchase all gluten-free ancient grains from brands that are processed in a certified gluten-free facility. Products should indicate this with a certified gluten-free seal on the label. Thanks for watching. For additional in-depth info, as well as the best sources of ancient grain products we know of, be sure and check out the links in the description box below this video. Please like, share, and/or give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. And be sure and check out these other informational videos.